supposedly his partner. But it was still as it had been in the old days, with Delahaye in charge, and Clancy his second in command. Unlike his father before him, Jack Clancy resented his subordinate position, resented it deeply, though he tried hard, and mostly with success, not to let his dissatisfaction show. But a Clancy could not say no to a Delahaye. That was understood, which was why Davy Clancy had only smiled and shrugged when in Sweeney's the previous night Victor Delahaye, on the way to getting drunk and with a soiled look in his eye, had leaned over the table and invited him to come out for a sail in the Quicksilver. Davy knew nothing about boats, but everyone had laughed, and someone had clapped him on the shoulder. And what could he do but say yes, thanks, sure, and bury his nose in his glass? "Right," Delahaye had said, smiling tightly and showing his teeth. "I'll pick you up at 9, and sauntered back to the bar. And that was when Delahaye's wife had looked over at Davy with that thin-lipped, mocking smile. The two families spent their holidays together every summer. It was a tradition that went back to Phil's and Samuel's time. Davy could not understand why his parents still carried it on. Old Phil was gaga now, and in a nursing home, and Samuel Delahaye was in a wheelchair. And although Davy's father and Victor Delahaye kept up the pretense of friendship, it was an open secret how bad relations were between them. While Mona Delahaye, Victor's young wife, his second, the first wife having died, had barely a civil word to throw to Davy's downtrodden mother. Yet, every summer, the whole gang of them decamped for the month of June to Ashgrove, the Delahayes' big stone house halfway up the back slope of Slievemore. The place had 10 or 12 bedrooms, more than enough to accommodate Victor Delahaye and his wife, and their grown-up twin sons, Jonas and James, as well as Victor's unmarried sister, Marguerite, Maggie, and the 3 Clancys. This year there was an extra guest, Jonas Delahaye's girlfriend, Tanya Summers. Tanya, a student at Trinity College, cut so provocative a figure in her one-piece black bathing suit that the men in the party, except her boyfriend, and, of course, Jack Clancy, hardly dared allow themselves to look at her, a thing that added to the tension in an already tense household. This morning the little harbour was crowded with boats, their owners' voices sounding sharp and clear across the lifeless surface of the sea, amid the snap of ropes and the clink of brass fittings. Victor Delahaye was greeted warmly on all sides. He was Commodore of Slievemore Sailing Club this season, but he hardly responded. He seemed preoccupied, and the flesh between his heavy black eyebrows was knotted in a fixed frown. Davy supposed he had a hangover. Delahaye wore sandals and tailored white trousers, and a sailor's dark blue cotton shirt, and the rakish blue sailor's cap that he had brought back from a business trip to Greece. He had a tanned, craggy face that wore well its 40-something years. Walking dutifully behind him, Davy felt everyone must know him for the hopeless landlubber that he was. The Quicksilver was moored at the end of the stone jetty, its sails furled. Seen close up, it did not look at all like a toy, but had the sleekly menacing lines of a giant white swordfish. Delahaye stepped nimbly down to the deck, but Davy hung back. He remembered being told once by a science teacher, Harkins, it was, a Christian brother, the one who'd been sent away for interfering with the boys in the junior classes, that you could move a vessel as big as an ocean-going liner with just a push of one hand against the hull. He was supposed to be impressed, but the thought of such a huge thing being susceptible to the force of a boy's hand had filled him with dismay. Delahaye was already unwinding the mooring rope from the bollard. Sure enough, when Davy put his foot to the deck, he felt the whole boat tilt to fraction, and his innards heaved. The contrast between the solid stone of the jetty underfoot and the boat's ponderous buoyancy made him giddy. He would probably be seasick, he thought gloomily, and saw himself hanging over the side, heaving and retching.